Okay, so last week I had to take the week off because at the age of 46 I had to get my tongue tie done. So I couldn't really talk last week. A lot of stuff was going on. Maybe I and people if people thought I didn't have a voice because of the Blue Jays and whatever, maybe that too. But I am joined by Bo Crouch from Pro Football Talk with Bo. I think I got that right. Out of Seattle. So awesome to have you on the show tonight. It's great. Love it.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Thanks for
Yeah,
having me on.
for sure. So I know you're a football guy, but I did see some posts that you were at the Blue Jays Mariners game four. Is this correct?
Yeah. So I was at the ALCS there. So I cover all the sports.
Yeah.
I just happened to play football for a long time,
Mhm.
but yeah, I cover everything. Obviously, that was a great series,
Yeah.
and I mean, realistically, for the Jays, the World Series was a great series. Came up on the wrong side of it, but I mean, you can't feel bad about a Game 7 extra innings. I mean,
No.
gave them everything they could handle. So, and then of course, similarly against the Mariners, it was full length series. We had a full length series against Detroit as well. So, I mean, apparently from the AL side, it was going the distance every time.
Yeah, like what you guys with the Tigers, you guys went 15 innings. I was at a junior hockey game here in town. I came back and I'm like, okay, I'm watching this thing till midnight, and the thing
Oh
started
yeah.
at 4 in the afternoon and ended at about 10 o'clock Pacific time.
Yep.
If people think baseball is boring, I mean, just go watch the playoffs of this past year for sure. Uh,
Absolutely.
yeah,
It's one thing I love about being on the West Coast is for everybody on the East Coast, every like primetime sporting event ends in the middle of the night.
yeah.
And over here, it's usually wrapped up about 8:30.
Except for game three of the World Series, which ended
Except
at
for game three.
around, and I can only imagine if there was no pitch clock. I mean, shoot, yeah, Sandy
Oh
Koufax
yeah,
was there, and I mean that's the exception to the rule. Um,
for sure.
but that game ended at 4:20 in the morning in Newfoundland, and then yeah,
Yep.
yeah. I have friends that I have a buddy in Kelowna. He says the same thing. So
Yep.
you get that 4 o'clock starts. Well, yeah, it's all done. And I don't know. The older we
Yeah.
get, the more sleep we need, supposedly. So, yes,
I have yet to dial in on any of that, but
right.
I still go to bed late and wake up early, so it doesn't really work out very well.
Yeah, totally. Good, good. So, you're a man of many hats, from what I understand. You played some arena football.
Yep.
You're into the podcasting, and yeah, I think there's a bunch there to uncover. So, just kind of maybe tell us your life journey, just with the arena football, and then we can dive into to some other stuff, obviously.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess it's a little bit of a unique path to football because I didn't go through college. I went and played semi-pro ball. Um, in fact, got to win a ring doing that,
Nice.
and but so then from that, we there was seven of us from that championship team that got brought up to arena football. And so I ended up retiring from football when I was 30 and had a couple of normal traditional businesses along the way. And then I just really missed sports. Right.
Mm.
And so I wanted to get back into it. And that's how I got into podcasting. And now I've been slowly getting all of my media credentials. So I'm media credentialed now for the WNBA and Major League Rugby, arena ball, and so I'll be going back to Mobile, Alabama for the Senior Bowl, and so
Oh,
yeah, it's been a fun journey for sure.
so you get to do the Senior Bowl. Okay, that's so you're rubbing shoulders with the in rap reporters and from the NFL
Yep.
Network and that sort of thing. Do you ever have a chance to kind of talk to those guys?
Um, it's kind of in passing. You do have some time when you're doing like some of the team interview sessions. Because of the way the Senior Bowl works, there's a radio row, there's interview times where it's just media, and then there's also interview time in between each team's practices because they both practice during the week. So you get a practice session, about a 10-minute window to interview whoever you can grab, and then the second practice, and then another 10 minutes there.
Yeah.
And then usually there's, other opportunities. But yeah, you do run into guys like Rapport because he's around. Probably the cooler thing there is not so much the other media members, but the Senior Bowl is actually coached by all NFL coaches. And so that entire week, it is the NFL coaches that are selected for it, the NFL scouts that are looking at all the kids that are there, and most of the NFL GMs are in the house. So like last year, a bunch of the coaches were there as well. So Tomlin was there, McDonald was there, Shanahan was there for a minute, but the GMs were there the whole time. So John Schneider was there the whole time. John Lynch was there the whole time.
Wow.
And so you do get a chance to chat with some of those guys during the week. And so that is very cool.
Yeah, most definitely right. And we all know what Schneider did, the Matt Unger trade for Jimmy Graham, that's evident. And
Well, they don't all work out.
they don't all work out, right? And but yeah, you almost you get kind of more enamored with behind the scenes, these guys. And I don't know if it's through sports documentaries. We seeing Andy Reid in the Chiefs Kingdom there, going to the office at 4 a.m., be in the office till 11. What kind of brain trusts are part of these operations? It's quite fascinating.
Mhm. Absolutely. Absolutely.
No
So
doubt.
yeah, and it's always cool to be able to talk to him because you get little nuggets from him that you otherwise don't, right? Because when they're doing their standard press conferences, stuff like that, usually the questions that you really want answered either aren't going to come up or they're going to give you the most coach speak answer ever. But when you get them kind of one on one on the sideline and you get a chat, especially when the camera's off, you get a little more real answer from them.
Right. Yeah, most definitely right. And John Lynch there, he's been the brain trust with the 49ers going back to when Super Bowl 54 and a lot of these deep runs, that sort of thing. And obviously there's those missed opportunities. So I bet you want to ask him, but you don't.
No, you kind of do though.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I mean, you're as a journalism, you're not doing your journalist rather, you're not doing your job if you don't ask some of those questions. Now, whether or not they answer you, that's
Right.
wildly different. But you got to pose the question, right?
Right.
So the one thing I only had a couple of minutes with John Lynch, and so one of the questions I asked him is, how important is a game like the Senior Bowl, and do kids here move themselves up and down the board very significantly based on what you see? And he said, yeah, he spends the entire week there and he's watching and he's like, there will be guys that will move themselves way up the board and guys that will drop. And it'll be because they're coming in. This is an all-star game. So they're playing with guys they haven't played with, right?
Hmm.
They're playing with NFL coaches, so it's a different system than they're used to in college, and it's all NFL terminology, right? So they have three practices essentially to get up to speed with different kind of coaching, different players, different terminology, and so you're watching how fast is the uptake. Everybody there is great athletes, right? So now you're looking at more of the cerebral side of, can they pick these things up? How fast can they adapt to it? And so you can have guys that are, you know, sort of equal when it comes to athleticism. And maybe this guy was going to be a second rounder and this guy was going to be a third or a fourth, but this guy picked it up so much faster. So they may move up that draft board for them, not necessarily across the league because not everybody's watching the same thing.
Right.
So these kind of games like the Senior Bowl, Shrine Bowl, East West, all of those, because they're essentially all-star games, they're a little more important than I think people realize.
Well, yeah, because the notion is, well, if you didn't have a good 40 at the combine, it's all about the combine.
You
And that
know,
focus there. And then if that doesn't work out, it actually, as you're stating here, it starts at the Senior Bowl.
yeah, and it's funny. Like, I don't know why the combine and pro days matter as much as they do,
Hmm.
because they shouldn't, right? So when you're looking at a pro day, your pro day better be awesome, right?
Yeah.
Because you're doing against nobody. You get a, like, especially if you're a quarterback, you get a choreograph with your people for a week. And then people are going to come and see you against no defense, no pass rush. You should look good, right? Um, when it comes to the combine, very similarly, you're not in pads. Like, there's no defense. There's, yeah, maybe your 40 speed isn't, what it should have been or whatever. But I mean, realistically, you should look good in the combine because there's nothing you're going to encounter on the field there. And so I don't know why everybody puts so much weight on the combine and pro day when you have actual footage of people playing other humans that you could be looking at. And, one of the prime examples of this is you have Anthony Richardson a couple of years ago get drafted fourth overall. I had him graded as a third round pick. And
Hmm.
then he throws an 80-yard bomb in a pro day, and all of a sudden the Colts take him fourth overall. Was the most ridiculous thing. And then lo and behold, he gets to the pros stage and he shows you all the same things he did in college, where he couldn't make those intermediate passes and, didn't necessarily have the best decision making. And he's on his way off of the team.
Yeah.
But there was nothing you saw in college that made you think, hey, he's that dude that should be fourth overall.
Yep. And other names that come to my mind would be a Zach Wilson,
Yep.
a Trey Lance, and I love our North Dakota guys. Okay.
Sure.
Right. But like, again, that was a COVID year and everything else. Okay, well, this guy's getting drafted up. I mean, look at the 49ers. They drafted up to get him. He was
Yeah.
going to be the next heir apparent. And well, announced the Brock Purdy show. And yeah, it's just, they, yeah, it is one of those things. It's, as you say, Richardson's not seeing the field with the Daniel Jones thing going on. So,
Yep.
uh, it, what do you play into that? I mean, here's the Giants, in my estimation, should have back in the day, or all those years ago when they drafted uh, Jones, they should have drafted Dwayne Haskins. That's who they should have drafted, in my humble opinion. But
Yeah, I mean, at the same time, even if they would have went the Jones route, they paid the wrong guy. Like, they should have paid Saquon, because Saquon having a monster year for them is why Daniel Jones looked good. You
right,
see Daniel Jones looking good right now. Oh, Jonathan Taylor's on a record-setting pace as a running back. It's like,
right,
well, yeah. So that just tells you that Daniel Jones is a competent game manager, which there's nothing wrong with that. You can win with that. Trent Dilfer has a ring because of it, right? So you can win that way as long as you have those pieces in place. You got to have a good offensive line. You got to have a good running game, a solid defense. The Colts have all of that. The one year that Daniel Jones had a good season in New York, they had a solid defense, they had a good offensive line, and Saquon was, running out of his mind. So you know this recipe for success for Daniel Jones, why they were like, hey, that's the guy we want to pay. And the guy that made it happen, we were going to get him out of town. It's like, okay, well, I mean, that's why the Giants are bad.
yeah, and now and then they can't hold a lead versus Denver, and if they would have won the Denver game, maybe they wouldn't be 2-7 now. But yeah, I like your logic there. Yes, definitely.
I mean, to be fair,
Mhm.
not too many teams this year have been able to hold a lead in the fourth quarter against Denver. Denver has not been a good first three-quarter team, but they are the best offense in the league in the fourth quarter.
Yes, that is true. It is hard to believe that they have won 7 games in a row. I knew they would be good. I thought they would take that next step. Yes, even as a Chiefs fan, I thought they would be in for the Chiefs.
Yeah.
My son's looking at TV today. What do you mean they're in the hunt? Well, if the playoffs started, they would be out, But
Yes.
right.
Yep.
I like what Sean Payton's doing there, and
Mhm.
um, that defense and everything else. Um, Bart Scott said today on ESPN. I forget what show. I should know with. I think it was Get Up. He goes. He goes. And it's come from Bart Scott. So he goes. The Broncos are being held back by Bo Nix. So I was like, okay, well. I think sometimes they say some stuff, so we start talking about it. But I thought that was an interesting take.
Well, I mean, so he's not entirely wrong. So like when you look at the first 3 quarters of the game,
Hmm.
again, he hasn't played very well. He has the best efficiency rating in the league in the fourth quarter. Now, if they could get him to figure out how to play football for 4 quarters, that team could be great. Um, you got to be kind of happy as a Chiefs fan though, because you start the season out and Rice is suspended, Worthy is hurt. Yeah, like you got a bunch of injuries. You're really kind of not equipped to compete, right? When you're looking at the rest of your division. And then the Chargers and the Broncos had their chance to really put their foot on the neck for you guys, and they couldn't get it done. And so now you guys are right there. And obviously, if it all started today, yeah, you'd be on the outside looking in, but it doesn't. And, you know, so when you look at the Broncos, the way that they're winning games really isn't sustainable unless they can start figuring out how to play complete offense throughout the game. They're going to start losing some games. The Chargers are the Chargers, right? So,
Right.
they'll look great one game, and then the next game, you really don't know what they're going to put out there. So, even though you guys are not currently in first in your division, I still feel like this is your division to win.
Well, I appreciate that. I mean, the big game coming up on the 16th. We all know that Kansas City rested their starters last year. There was no reason. And
Mm.
maybe ask Bengal fans about that one. But yeah, and agreed with the Chargers. The Chargers are the Chargers. They get into the playoffs, want to believe in them, and they get hammered by Houston. It makes
Yep.
no sense. Uh, know exactly what's going on there. Uh, Kansas City has had some impressive wins. The one over Detroit, Washington has definitely taken about 5 steps back, not just two. So,
Yeah. Well, I mean,
uh,
with as many injuries as they have,
yes,
their season is over.
right. Uh, what do you kind of make of the NFL so far this season? There have been some definitely surprises, and this whole term of parity. I used to believe in it. I don't think there's as much parity in the NFL as there used to be, or maybe there never has been.
No, I mean, so there's more parity than you think. So like when you see some of the teams that are always there, right?
Right.
And so like your team, prime example, some of that has to do with coaching. Coaching matters in the NFL. It's the one sport that it seems to matter more than anything else, right?
Mhm.
You can get away with kind of so management and coaching if you're looking at baseball or if you're looking at the NBA. Like you can have players take over games, right? When it comes to football, coaching matters, right? Like when you see bad coaches and you can have all the talent in the world, you don't win in the NFL. So their coaching plays a role for you guys in particular. You have a guy in Mahomes that is following that Tom Brady route of, hey, let me restructure my deals so that I can pay more guys. So you have more balance across your team as opposed to, the teams like the Bengals where they're like, hey, we're going to give our half our salary cap to 3 guys and then order our defense on Timu and hope it works out. It's unfortunate, but like it doesn't work in the NFL. You can't have a couple of guys and hope for it to happen, right? So I like the way you guys continue to have success in that way. Obviously, as a fan of a team, I don't like it, but as an analyst, I like it.
Well, yeah. I mean, and it goes back. The Bengals. They should have drafted the offensive lineman that Detroit has. Like if you can't keep Burrow healthy and upright, like there's no point. Again, but I like your order it on team. I mean
Well, I mean,
that's good.
when you think about it, you got three guys on the offense making more than the entire defense combined.
Hmm.
That's wild.
That is crazy. And Jamal Chase, T Higgins, and Joe Burrow.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, like when you see Joe Burrow, last year, right? He is if that's a 12-win team, he wins the MVP going away,
Right.
right? So he has one of his career years. He has a triple crown receiver, and they missed the playoffs.
Yeah.
And then what did they do this offseason? Absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Like they did nothing to make the defense better.
Right.
They drafted a rookie who's been okay. Um, they don't really do anything to help the offensive line. Joe Burrow has been injured every other season. He's been in this. So he had a great year last year. I said this whole offseason, I was like, oh, he's going to get hurt. So as soon as people are like, oh, who do you think I should get in my fantasy? It's like, stay away from Burrow. Was the
Hmm.
first thing I said.
Well, yeah, because if you can't stand upright, again, no point, right? And it's not like the Bengals haven't had their opportunities. They had the AFC Championship game. They lost by 3 to the Chiefs.
Yep.
Yeah, but they're such slow starters. But then this year they're slow starters, and then they're like, nope, we're not Zach Taylor. We're not going to get a quarterback. Well, they eventually did in in Flacco, which I think is the most hilarious thing,
So
within the division.
that's the thing that, well, yeah, the fact that happened, I mean, that was the most Browns thing ever. But,
Yeah.
like, how are you trading a quarterback within the division to a team that beats you if they have a quarterback? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. But it's the Browns, and rarely do what they do make sense. So, but when you look at the Bengals, it's got to be super frustrating because, I mean, you look at Flacco. They lost this last weekend. They put up 40 points. Like, if you
Yeah.
put up 40 points, you should win.
Right. Just got
So,
Chase Brown about that, right? Like he was pretty vocal to the media about it.
yeah, I mean, there's no reason to not, win that game. And it was funny because people were complaining. They're like, "Oh, Joe Flacco, he didn't execute that final drive." It's like he put up 40. Like, how much? Like, your defense has to make a stop eventually, right? Like,
Right. And yes, this is the Ben Johnson offense of the Browns, and I like what they're doing, but like you gotta, yeah, as you say, you gotta shut it down. Like, and I know there's more scoring in the NFL than there used to be, except last night. But
oof,
you know,
man, that game was terrible.
it was. What do you make of that game? Like again, that's why I kind of fell in love with the NFL. I do like a low scoring game, but I don't know.
So
These
I
it was
like a
so yeah,
I like a low scoring game if it's executed well, right? Like,
yeah,
if you have good defense,
right,
that's not what we had. We had defense that actually was out of position and would have given up plays, but the offense was played so poorly that it still wasn't executed. Like, it was the sloppiest JV style like football you could watch. And so, yeah, it was just kind of a frustrating watch because there was plenty of opportunities for those teams to not look as bad as they did.
hmm,
You can say they played good defense, but I mean, there were open guys that they just didn't hit. That interception by Geno, you can blame it on Geno by not getting the ball an extra foot in front of him, but really that's on the receiver not reaching out to grab the ball because he let it hit him in the shoulder pad. So, I mean, it was just really sloppy, undisciplined play. And yeah, I mean, but at the same time, it was Thursday Night Football, and that game is generally bad.
yeah, and I know like it was Sunday, Monday, and now they did that, and then they did the Thursdays after Thanksgiving, and now they start week 2, and the short week and all of that, and then yeah, sometimes us fantasy owners we forget to set our lineups, but that's on us. But it's just like sometimes I think it's maybe too much. You know what I mean? Like it's sometimes less is more in some regards. I don't know if it creates the best competitive
So
balance.
the thing, I mean, I'm with you to a degree. The thing is people want more football,
Right.
right? Because I mean, when you look at the other leagues, right, you got 162 games for baseball. I
Yes.
mean, if you just don't watch 60 games, doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
Basketball, you got 82 games, right? If you miss half of them, who cares? Nobody starts playing basketball until the last 3 weeks of the season anyway. Um, but when you come to football, every game matters, right? And so they did it in a way where you're elevating, these teams into primetime slots that otherwise weren't there, right? And similarly to the international series as well, right? So you're creating these unique primetime opportunities. So I'm not mad at it. It's frustrating that it's Thursday is always a bad game. I understand why they do it because it's the only game on,
Right.
so it's going to get the eyeballs. So when you're seeing a couple of teams that it's probably not going to be a great game, you throw it on a Thursday or you throw it in the international series, everyone's going to watch because it's the only game available. And if it's over in London or what Madrid or what's Germany this weekend, right?
Germany. Yeah.
So, but when you look at those games over there, they don't have to put the best game because they only get it a few times a year, or in this case, when it's Spain or Germany, they get one for the year, right? So it could be the worst game possible. They could be sending the Dolphins to go play the Jets, and it wouldn't matter because at the end of the day, it's the only game they're going to get. So that stadium's going to sell out regardless. And so when it comes to the NFL, they're like, yeah, we can put garbage product over there. It doesn't matter because they get it so infrequently. Everyone's going to go. And Thursday night, I just view that same way. They can put kind of a bad game, but it's the only game available.
Yeah, I mean there was Miami and Baltimore the other a few weeks ago. You're thinking, oh, maybe Miami can do something here. Baltimore has been very inconsistent. Well,
Mm-hmm.
okay, 28-6. Okay, kind of a snoozer. Kind of thanks for
Yep.
coming out. I know they've done more Monday night double headers and
So
some
those
at
I
the
don't
same
like.
time, right? And then a few
Yeah.
weeks ago they had Seattle playing at home versus Houston. Meanwhile, the Mariners in Toronto are finishing up, and yeah, I can only imagine if both games were in the same state, in the same city at the same time.
Yeah. So there was some of that.
Mhm.
Because when the Mariners were here, there was some other games that were being played, so they actually adjusted the game start time for the Mariners. Um, but the double headers on Monday night, that one I'm not a big fan of. I
Mhm.
don't mind it if they are in succession,
Right,
right? But they only do that. They only did that twice. All the other times they did the double headers, they have an hour difference in the start time.
right.
I'm not a fan of that because you've essentially taken a primetime slot and now made it regional.
Yes,
So what's the point?
right. I know somebody who has two TVs, but we don't all have
Sure.
the two TVs. Sure, I could stream one on the phone,
Yep.
uh, through the TSN app or whatever else, but
I just always look at which game's going to be better. That's the one I watch.
right, exactly. Like I think it was the other day. Well, it was a while back. Forget the week, but I was watching Denver and Cincinnati, but there was another game going. I think it was no, it was the Miami and Jets. All right, so I'm like, okay, well, I think I think I'll take the Denver game. Like it was like, and they were both terrible games. Like it was
Yes.
right. So, uh, and then yeah, okay. Well, I always think, okay, if Joe and Troy, if Joe Buck and Troy Aikman are on that game, then that should be the best game. But maybe that's not always the case.
Well, and you look at some of the games you think are going to be good, and then you start watching them and they're just not. And you're
Yeah.
just like, oh, what happened to this game?
Yes. Well, and I always fear that sometimes in the Sunday 305, 325 slots. It's like, hey, well, let's hope. And so some if it's a Dallas Green Bay, okay, all the money's in on that. But you know what? The NFL, they don't have to apologize to anybody. They can basically do what they want because they've
Oh
kind of
yeah.
earned that right? So, um, what do you think about maybe the NFL? There's always been, I know Peter King always talked about, a division overseas. We see everybody going and playing these games, mainly the Jaguars. But where do you kind of see the NFL going from that, maybe on a permanent basis?
Yeah, well, so the Jaguars, for people watching that may not know, their owner is a partial owner of one of those stadiums in London.
Okay.
So that's why they are guaranteed a London game every year. And quite a few years they had two, right?
Mm.
Um, so that plays a little bit of a factor there. I don't mind the international series. There is you got to look at it from the marketing side. So when you look at the US market and Canadian market, really, it's about as saturated as it could get, right? Like the people that are going to watch it are going to watch it. If they want to continue to grow, they have to start to branch out. Do I think that they ultimately get a division over there? Maybe. It's going to be tough, right? Because now you have to figure out how it is they're going to incorporate, because otherwise they're going to travel in an immense amount. So you'd essentially have, if you had a division over there, you'd have to have whoever played them basically spend 2 weeks, right? You'd have to have them play a couple of different places just to try and limit some of the just travel fatigue, right?
Right.
And is it is it horrible from the East Coast? No, it's a 5-hour flight, right? But from the West Coast here, it's 8. And so, that's wildly different. Like for you guys, it would be the same flying to London as it is to flying to Seattle. But when it comes to Seattle, if we're flying to, Germany or, something like that, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I mean, that's an 8-hour time difference. That's a 14-hour flight. you know so yeah,
That's
so
wild.
yeah, exactly. So do I think they ultimately do it? Yeah, I think you're still quite a long way from it.
Hmm.
You're more likely to get a team in Mexico
Right.
before you get one overseas, because at least then you are still on the North America continent, right? And you get to employ the same time zones,
Yes.
right? So although the travel may be a 4 or 5 hour flight, you don't have time zones to deal with. You don't have, you know, catching, second flights, or I mean, they're all charter, so I guess it doesn't matter. But I mean, I think logistically, it's a lot easier to have a team in Canada and a team in Mexico long before we go to Europe.
Yeah, I like that thinking because yeah, the time zones definitely do make me feel a bit dizzy just with all of how that's going to go on. Again, it is this empire that has been built. Games on Prime, games on YouTube, uh, Christmas Day games on YouTube, that sort of thing. And again, it costs a lot, and we see this a bit in the hockey. You got to watch games on Prime, and then somebody at work said, "I pay more for streaming services than I do cable." I'm like, "Yeah, that's why I'm never going to go onto the streaming services."
Yep.
Uh, is there an appetite for that? There are people just okay, yeah, the games are on YouTube. This is what we're going to be doing.
So, yeah, I mean, people do it. If you wanted to have all of the games in real time because of all the different streaming services it's on, right? Because some of them are on Peacock. You have NFL Plus, you got NFL Network, you got ESPN. I mean, so like you name it, like there's a million different ones. Prime, obviously. You're going to have the Christmas game again on Wednesday, which will be Netflix. It'll cost you $1,500 if you wanted to have all the games in real time this year. So personally, what I do is I don't do that because that seems stupid. Is what I do is I have NFL Plus, and because I can only break down so many games at one time,
Right.
right? For you to like legitimately watch it and like break down tape and take real things out of each game, um, you can't have a bunch of them on at the same time, right?
Right.
You can kind of watch them, but you can't watch them. And so what I do is I use NFL Plus because it's it's like $120 for the year, and you get all of the games um, in replays. You also get Red Zone included with it, NFL Network included with it, and you get the all 22 camera angle. And so I'll watch the network broadcasts of whatever games are on because I got to watch them all to be able to talk about them. And so I will watch the ones that are my local games, and then I will go into my NFL Plus app and I'll start watching all the other games because it doesn't matter if they're in real time at that point.
Right. I like that strategy. So, do you have a weekly show then that you do to
Yeah,
you are on the YouTube, which I have read about, but how does that look like for you, Bo?
yeah. So I actually have a daily sports show that's on YouTube, Roku TV, and then I also have a couple other shows. One of them is broadcast on the radio. So I mean, so I'm busy. I'm busy. I'm probably on camera. Um, not including prep time, just like physically in front of the camera, probably about 25 hours a week.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. So, um, so yeah, no, I'm busy with this. And then, because of the sports that I said I was credentialed for, like I'm in the stadiums for those,
Right.
doing press conferences and stuff. So, I mean, I'm always running it. Well, I mean, that's why it's taken so long for us to link up on this.
That's right, because yeah, as I said, the one day I kind of dozed off. I'm like, oh shoot, and then you were into something. You do host do you host a Thursday night football party from what I understand?
Yeah, so I do a pick'em show. So we actually have a pick'em championship that you can win money in and everything. And so the way that I used to do it, and I changed it a little bit this year just because I didn't have time. I used to do what I called was the sports bar series, and it was designed because Thursday night football has been terrible. And so what I would do is it would help me engage with the people that watch my show, but it would also help me kind of highlight local, you know, sports bars. And so I would travel from Portland, Oregon to Vancouver, BC, and each week I would do
Hmm.
the game and my pick'em show from a different sports bar every week, and it was very cool. It let me meet people that watched the show, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I just didn't have the time to do that much driving this time around. And so I do it from a brewery called Crucible Brewery in Everett. And so every Thursday, I do my Pick'em show live from there. And then we do Thursday night football there. And so that way, anybody that's in the Northwest here that's, within driving distance, they can come out and watch the game and we'll talk sports. And so it's very fun, but it makes it so that I can watch a game that I know is going to suck, but I can do it with, fans of the show and stuff.
That's good. Yeah, when you mention Everett, I can't help but think about the home of the Everett Silvertips.
Yep. Yep. Silver tips right here in town. Yeah,
Right. It's good. Wow. It's a small world. I love it. Yeah, it's all about interacting with the community
absolutely.
and getting to know your people. I get a bit of that if I go to a Bomber game and that sort of thing. Oh yeah, you're that guy or whatever. So it does happen. But so yeah, you're getting your media credentials. Where do you kind of see yourself in the next 5, 10 years?
Yeah, well, I mean, hopefully further along. Yeah, I mean, I'm turning this into a full on sports, broadcast type of career. So, I mean, I'm just continuing to amass more credentials. I'm working on the NHL right now. So I'm trying to get in with the Kraken currently, and then from there move into the Mariners and Seahawks, and so it'll be a year round thing.
Right.
Um, yeah, so that's kind of the thing.
Yeah, maybe an NBA team comes back to Seattle. Who knows? I know there's been rumblings of that. I would love to see it. I do think there's a market for it.
Oh
Again,
yeah.
the Kraken are there, with Jessica Campbell and what she's been doing there and that sort of thing. So I mean, yeah, it's good. And so your favorite team is the Seahawks? Would that be correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. And what was kind of your memories and just of becoming a fan of that team?
Yeah, so I'm in my 40s, so I grew up in the 80s, so I watched guys like Zorn and Craig and Steve Largent, and so yeah, that was my introduction to football. Was those guys, Brian Blades and Joey Galloway, those kinds of guys, Kenny Easley, and I got to watch it in the concrete monstrosity of the Kingdome, which was awesome. Um, so yeah, no, like I loved I loved watching this team. The '90s weren't kind to us, but we got a lot better after that.
Well, yeah, I mean, it sure did. I mean, again, there was the overtime loss to the Packers in 2004. Hasselbeck said, "Yeah, we're going to take the ball and win." I really thought you guys had that game.
Hey, you know what? I loved the confidence of that. Like we want the ball and we're gonna score. Like I
Sure.
loved that. And then all things being equal, he did throw a touchdown pass. It wasn't to our team, but it was a touchdown pass.
To Al Harris, if
Yeah,
memory serves me correct. I have to go back in the memory bank a bit for that one.
good
Uh,
old pick six. Let's go.
yes. But you had the Super Bowl 43 victory.
Yep.
No, yeah, sorry,
Yep.
Super Bowl 48 victory, pardon me.
Yep.
The
Yep.
43-8 game. Um, over Manning, the safety and that sort of thing. And again, and 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 this what the Seahawks are doing now is
Yeah.
is yeah, I know the Sam Darnold had two bad starts last year. The game versus Detroit and then the playoff game. But what do you
Yeah.
make of Sam Darnold now? What he's doing with your Seahawks?
It's good to see him building that confidence. So he did have a couple of bad starts there with the Vikings, although his offensive line was severely hurt at that point,
Hmm.
right? So I mean, I don't know how much you can really hate on him for playing poorly behind a bad offensive line. It's why I was worried about the acquisition of Darnold coming here to Seattle. Is we watch Geno play well with the terrible offensive line that we had. We've had the bottom five offensive line for about 7 or 8 years.
Hmm.
Geno Smith in his time here set the um, single season passing record twice in 3 years, right? Behind a horrible offensive line. So you're just like, oh, okay, like, he looks good. And then they ship him out of town and they go grab Darnold. And, for everybody that's watched Darnold's career, you're like, okay, he gets drafted by the Jets. He didn't look particularly good. He goes to Carolina, really kind of up and down. Then he spends a weekend in San Fran and then plays out of his mind with the Vikings. But then you looked at the Vikings, you're like, okay, they have a ton of weapons. They had a decent defense, good offensive line. You're like, yeah, I mean, most quarterbacks would be able to play pretty well like that. Coming to Seattle, I was like, our offensive line is terrible. Does he revert back to the ghost seeing Sam Darnold that was with the Jets? Or do we get something that even remotely looks like what he had with the Vikings? We actually made some very smart offensive line moves during the offseason and draft. And so this offensive line play outside of Anthony Bradford, who's been an absolute liability, but everybody else has played really well.
Right.
So but so Sam Darnold's been very efficient, and so I'm really happy with the trade now. I'm perfectly happy saying I was wrong because I was very apprehensive about them getting him and getting rid of Geno. But watching what Geno's doing this year versus Darnold, I'm like, yeah, no, they made the right decision. Like I was totally wrong on that.
Well, I mean, I think Gino is in Vegas because that's Pete Carroll's guy, so that
Yep.
was part of that. And then there was like what, and I really wondered what the Vikings were doing, even letting Darnold go. Yes, he had the two bad starts,
Yeah.
and no Carson Wentz to back up JJ McCarthy. McCarthy is struggling. He's a number one pick, or not? He's a first round pick, not a number one pick.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, I would tend to agree. But I mean, shoot, you're up 28-0 there on Sunday Night Football. You're like, is this for real? So
Oh
it's
yeah.
I tend to think that they are the favorites in the NFC West.
Still the Rams.
You
Still
think
the
so?
Rams. Yeah, because if you look at Stafford's numbers, a he's probably your top two or top three contender for the MVP as
Right.
it sits at this point in the year. So the Rams are probably still favored. They're who I picked to win the division before the season started. Um, the surprise in our division is the Niners. I thought they were going to fall way further off this year with the amount of people they had to move out of town to clear up cap space, and it does, despite getting rid of people and having a just a litany of injuries, they keep winning games.
Yeah, it is quite fascinating. I'm not sure how they do it, but they do keep on doing it. So, um, and that's the beauty of the NFL. As they say, the any given Sunday type of um, or any given Thursday
Yeah,
type of
right.
league that we're on. Again, it is fascinating. That's why it is, in my humble opinion, it's the most addictive league in the world because you just never know what's going to happen.
Yep.
Truly.
Well, and so that's actually where I was going with the parody is when you think of, I was talking about the couple of teams that are there a lot because they're just ran well, but you end up with six or seven teams every year in the playoffs that weren't in the playoffs the year before.
Right.
You can't ask for more parity than that. You have what 14 teams get in and there's six new ones guaranteed every time. Like that's pretty good. Now you have your dysfunctional teams that are never going to get there because you like the Jets, you have them rebuilding their rebuild. You know, so like they're blowing up a team that never even got going. You got the Browns being the Browns; they can have the best roster and still find ways to lose. The Saints are a long ways away. So I mean, you're looking at teams that are going to be bad for a while,
Right.
but you got a lot of middle teams that can pop their head in the mix.
Well, you even look at Jacksonville this year, right?
Yep.
They go beat the Chiefs on Monday night. They're 5-4. You even look at Carolina this year; they're 5-4. The sky isn't really falling in Carolina. It's just, it has taken a bit more of a time. And yeah, it's I would say with the Jets though, they actually have been close this year. They played the Steelers close week one. I know the wheels fell off when they played Tampa, but maybe I'm glass half full here. I interviewed Marvin Powell, who played for the Saints.
Okay.
He goes, "I'm calling it 10-7." That's what he said in the interview. And then yeah, so I want to have him on again to talk about it, but
I mean, you can't be half full for them now, though. After getting rid of Sauce and Quentin Williams, I mean, they've punted on the season.
yes, they have. Yeah, now it's done. But Sauce Williams, or Sauce Gardner, pardon me. I thought they would build around him, the Jets. I thought he was going to be the guy. And then, okay, well, now he's off to the Colts. Who would ever thought that?
Mhm.
And then Quentin Williams down to Dallas. I mean, Jerry Jones goes, I'm going to be making some trades. I know they picked the guy up from the Bengals. Well, we'll
Yep.
see what happens there. But you're
I
three
mean, the
five.
thing is
Yeah.
nothing's going to happen there. Like
No,
he
nothing.
did Jerry Jones did the most Jerry Jones thing, right? Like he gets rid of a key guy that he could have locked up and done it at a reasonable rate had he done it a while ago, or had he at least traded him before the draft, he probably could have got more for him. So they get a number one for him, and they get Kenny right to help
Right.
with the run stoppage. So, but then they give away everything they got to go get Quinnen Williams. And you're like, okay, so you ended up with some interior guys. You give away the draft pick that you got. So you didn't actually do anything. All you did was you got a little bit better at stopping the run and you got rid of all of your pass rush, right? Because now you don't have a DN that can get after the quarterback. So they didn't get draft picks for the next draft. Obviously they still have their first, but they gave away the one that they got. So it's just like you guys, you didn't do anything.
No, and this is why they call it Jerry's World, and it does become a bit of a circus. But I don't understand what this guy. Like it's entertaining. It's humorous. I mean, for them to trade away Micah Parsons, it's kind of reminiscent of Herschel Walker, but like,
Yeah.
you thought there was going to be a deal, and then when there wasn't a deal, and you trade him to the Packers, like in your own conference.
The team that beat you in the playoffs. Like,
Exactly. It makes absolutely no sense.
yeah,
I think Jerry and the Browns owner and Haslam, I think they go on a Zoom call maybe once a week. I don't know. It's hilarious to me.
yeah.
It's I just don't understand why he doesn't hand the reins over. You've made your money. Let somebody be the general manager and do your thing. Eh, Clark Hunt says, okay, Brett Veach, you do your thing. I'll just do some photo ops. I don't know. Like,
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing that's funny is it's not that he's been the worst GM, right?
right.
So during the draft, his ability to evaluate talent and get talent in the room on draft day, he's great at it.
Hmm.
But then he needs to just like jump on one of Bezos' rockets and like orbit the moon for like 6 months so that he can leave his team alone.
Right. Because it's just because they do have the talent. And um again, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. What all goes down there. I've interviewed ex Dallas Cowboys. Yeah, loving atmosphere, everything, and all of that. But it's just again, there's a reason they talk about the Dallas Cowboys even at 3-5-1. I mean, the Eagles are 7-2, and Jeffrey Lurie says you do your thing there, and you
Yep.
kind of let it be. And it does become a bit comical. I mean, Jerry Jones got fined for telling New York Jets fans he was number one. I mean, or telling them they were number one.
Yes.
It's
It was funny though. Like, people were mad about it. I thought it was hilarious.
right.
Now, it, on the other end, you had, Tepper 2 years ago throw a drink at a fan. That's not cool.
No, no, not at all. Yeah, there are, yeah, for sure. You never want to be
Like, if you
that.
got an owner that flips off a fan, like, I'm not mad at that. Like, I think that's funny, right? Because they were barking at him, right? So I'm not mad at it. But when you have Tepper and the amount of chaos the Carolina Panthers have had, right? Because in his time as the owner over the last 7 years, he's had almost twice as many coaches in that time, because he fires them halfway through the year. Like, their coach right now is the first one that's made it through 2 seasons with him.
Yes, the guy from Tampa there in
Yeah.
Yeah, yes, but they've had other guys that just don't make it at all. It is quite something.
Yeah.
And the names escape me at the moment, but yes. Uh, well, he was the quarterback for the Bills, not Jim Kelly, but there was that guy. So name
Oh,
escapes
for
me.
the Panthers? Yeah, I
Yes,
mean, there's too many to list because I
right.
mean, you literally had every other year, or I mean, every like halfway through the season, they'd fire someone, you'd have an intern, and then the next year it'd be someone else, and then an intern. You're just like, you guys are never going to win a game like this.
Yeah, yeah. The 1 in 15 Panthers. A long cry. When you watch sports for as long as we have, it's a long cry from Super Bowl. What was that? 38. Versus
Oh
the
yeah,
Patriots, right? So
with Cam,
yeah.
yeah.
No, that was Super Bowl 50, right? With Cam Newton. But
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. That Super Bowl was infamous for other things too, but
Yeah, fumbles are scary. So,
yeah. Oh
uh,
yeah, yeah, it is. And then you have the stability of the Chiefs, right? With Andy Reid being there since 2011, the infamous story of Clark Hunt apparently stopping him from going on the flight to Arizona to interview for that job. And as I say, the rest is history and the culture that's been set there now. And,
yep.
it is quite something.
Yeah, I'd say probably one of the bigger surprise. Obviously, the Colts is a huge surprise, but um, I gotta say the Patriots are a big surprise for me this year as well. I feel like they're way ahead of schedule. I like Vrabel as a coach, right?
Yes.
And I feel like I feel like Tennessee did him dirty. Um, you know, he was uh, in a couple of in the playoffs a couple of times. Then you end up with Tannehill getting hurt. You have Derrick Henry get hurt. They trade away his players, and
Mhm.
then they're like, "How come you're not winning a lot of games?" Like, well, we don't have anybody on the roster, and the guys were still playing hard for him, right? Like they were still trying to win, and they fire him. They keep the GM. It just didn't make any sense to me. So then you see him go to the Patriots. He's in his first year. They are absolutely balling out. And the Titans are on yet another coach.
Yes. Yeah, they just fired the one guy and they've hired another one in Callahan. And then, yeah, I thought Vrabel should have been there last year. I do agree they are ahead of schedule, but once they beat the Bills on Sunday Night Football, I'm like, okay, this is starting to materialize. And they're a very
Mhm.
quiet 7-2 because Tom
Yes.
Brady isn't there, right? Like it's unique. Everybody wants to be on the Bills, Bills this, Bills that. Um,
The
you know,
Bills are the better team.
they are. Uh, they beat the Chiefs, they beat the Ravens in week one, coming back 15 down. Uh, yes, but as we found in the World Series, sometimes the better team doesn't always win. No, I'm not. I'm not bitter. No, I'm not bitter. I've heard that so many times. But yes, I would agree the Bills are the better team. It's just, yeah, bit surprised that the Patriots are, 7-2. Maybe
Mhm.
I thought they would have a few less wins, but
I think they have, like, they are sitting with one more win than I thought they were going to have this season.
oh wow. Okay.
So I had them as like a 6 or 7 win team this year. So yeah, they are playing significantly better than I thought they were going to be.
Interesting. I mean, Drake May has come in, Mac Jones out. Uh,
Mhm.
yeah. I mean, you're going to get your wins against the Miamis and the Jets, so
I didn't see
that
Miami
helps you.
being as bad as they are, right? Like I thought Miami was going to be at least a middling team. I didn't see them just absolutely falling apart the way they are.
No, and then once Tyreek Hill went down, that's basically, curtain closed there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've seen their general manager now mutually part ways, and I would think Mike McDaniels is soon to follow.
Yeah. Well, and then you start to think that do they start selling off parts of this team, right? Because right now you have Waddle playing well, but it's the first season he's been, not banged up. So I was surprised they didn't move him before the trade deadline because
Right.
you probably get some pretty good capital for him. Tyreek Hill's never coming back to this team,
No.
right? Because his career or his like he'll play again, but he's not going to play for the Dolphins because his contract will be up by the time he's healthy. And then Tua, I don't know what you do with him. Like no one's going to give you anything for him because he's so accident prone and he hasn't been playing particularly well. But I don't know that you can win with the guy either.
No, I mean we all know how he came in the second half in the championship game with Alabama from a Jalen Hurts to win that game, and that kind of and then he had a good pro day.
Yeah, yeah,
Again, it's like all these pro days, and again, it was the year of COVID, so everybody is like on the Zach Williams and on the Trey Lances, on the Tua Tagovailoa, and elevating these guys. And okay, he's from Alabama, so he has to be good. Well, that's not necessarily the case. I mean, look at Mac Jones and some other quarterbacks in there. Um, there were some McCarrons too. I think he played for the
yep,
Bengals, right? So you just, sometimes that doesn't always translate to the pros. There is that big step, and again, I'm telling you stuff you already know, but it's just, it's sometimes fascinating when they can't, when those expectations aren't really there. To be honest, I mean, these people
yeah,
that are drafting these guys, they're no dummies, so
for sure.
it's fascinating.
Well, I mean, I think where a lot of people forget is they're like, oh, he was so good in college. It's like, yeah, that's great. It's just even when they're playing the best teams in college, there's like five or six NFL caliber guys on that roster, right?
Mhm.
And then when you get to the NFL, the 53rd man was an All American somewhere,
Right.
right? Like he was the best guy on whatever team he was on for most of his life. And he's the guy that is the last spot on the bench.
Yeah.
So, it's not apples to apples. Like you could be playing, the Saban era Alabama team where you're going to have 8 or 9 NFL quality guys. You get to the next level on the worst roster and it's stacked with dudes. like, so yeah, it's funny because people will talk down about it, but it's just like, yeah, I mean, like even the worst teams in the league are just littered with talent.
Yeah. Well, that they are, right. And again, they always say the margins in sport are extremely small,
Mhm.
and sometimes you get those diamonds in the rough. Patrick Mahomes, I would even think is a diamond in the rough. I mean, we saw them trade up to get him, and there's that kind of that story. Hey, you got to check out this guy and what have you, right? But yeah, to your point, there that 53rd man was a all-American top athlete, and so yeah, there are no easy games as they say.
No, that's why I was laughing. People are like, "Oh, he's a bum." It's like, yeah, he's the like 1% of the 1%, right? Like, like I understand he's not like the top of the league, but I mean, even that worst guy isn't a bum, right? Like,
Yeah,
it's
they're
like
there, and I'm just on the couch.
right. Well, and like for me, like I was a decent athlete. I ran a 4.3. I could dunk a basketball, even though I'm not tall, and I just I still wasn't good enough to be in the league.
Right. Yeah.
So
That's that. Those are some great points, right? And yeah, it is quite something. Who do you see in the Super Bowl on February 8th in San Francisco? I think we're going into what, week 9? Baseball
Uh,
screwed me up.
week 10, week
Week 10.
10.
Okay, week 10.
Yeah, no, it's cruising. Um, Man, it's funny. I'm not even sure I have a good like I would have answered that better for you weeks ago.
Hmm.
I don't feel confident about anybody now. I mean, we've watched good teams take some bad losses now. So I'm not entirely sure. I went into this year thinking that the um, championship game would have been like uh, between the Bills and KC again. That seemed like that kind of, or maybe, or not the Bills, but the Ravens. I thought it was going to be a Ravens KC kind of action there. And then on the other championship game, I was thinking it was going to be like the Eagles and the Lions, like that. It felt like the league was really kind of primed for that. But the more I watch it, the more flawed every team looks, even the ones with good records. So, man, it could go a lot of different ways. Uh, I mean, my Seahawks could mess around and get in there. Like it's crazy how open both sides of this is. And then on the AFC side, you have teams that just absolutely fell apart that you didn't think were going to in teams like the Bengals. You thought they were going to kind of mix it up, especially after starting the season with 2 wins. You're like, oh, okay, here we go. Like they're gonna kind of do something. Miami falling apart. So it really leaves the door open for the Bills. Steelers could mess around and poke their head in there if they figure their defense out. Um, we're not going to talk about the Browns or anything, but but no, like I feel like it's actually kind of really wide open right now, especially when you look at how deep, like on the NFC side, um, you have what you got. All 7 teams that would potentially get in are um, 6-2 or better.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, so like that's crazy.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know how you can look at 6-2 or 6-3 teams um, and not think they have a shot,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
So I don't know that I don't know that I can really answer that.
Yeah, hey, no problem. I mean, it is a bit murky because usually you got 6-2, 6-2, and then everybody's 5-4, but you got more 6-2 teams going on here. And I think this is the year a seven seed beats a 2 seed. I kind of live for the underdog role. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I was kind of looking at that a bit. I'm like, well, maybe if the Chiefs can, maybe they'll go into beat Indianapolis. That sort of thing. That there are some of those possibilities that do exist. It does create that extra excitement, and but yeah, it's way more, yeah, wide open, I think, than in past years, most definitely.
Yeah, because if we just go by conference real quick, um, let's see. Yeah, so on the AFC side, it's actually it's a little bit tighter.
Right.
Because you have 8-2, 7-2, 7-2, and then it's kind of in that 6-2, 5-3. It's a little bit more balanced there. But on the NFC side, like you're 6-2, 6-2, 6-2, 6-2, 6-3, 5-2-1.
Right.
It's like, oh, I mean, any one of those teams could get in there, and then you have 3 more that are 5-3, 5-4. So I mean, it's the NFC. I mean, over half of that conference has a real shot at it.
Hmm.
Uh, the AFC less so, but and it does look like if it were to end today, yeah, the Chiefs would just be outside.
Just the
They'd be the
outside.
eighth team.
They would be the eighth team, but then you would have, yep. And same with the Bears. I mean, in the NFC, but then you would have Detroit going to Tampa Bay.
Yeah,
I like Detroit in that game. Yeah.
no question.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Uh,
especially now that Tampa's so hurt.
yeah.
You know, that's what's wild with Tampa Bay and the Niners. Both of those are teams that have so many injuries and somehow keep squeaking wins out. Um, the difference between the Niners and the Bucks, though, is the Niners are going to get some of theirs back.
Right.
The Bucks have every time they have a guy go down, he's done for the year.
Yeah. Yeah. Mike Evans ain't coming back. I
No.
dropped him, yes. No doubt, right? Yeah, and it seems like Philly's kind of righted the ship a bit.
Yep.
We'll see what novel AJ Brown is reading on the sidelines. Uh, I kid a bit. Uh, Something's going on there.
Right. I mean, there has to be like so. That falls into that wide receiver diva action, though. Like
Mhm.
how are you mad when your team's 6-2? You keep winning games. Yeah, you're not getting your touches, but it's a team sport. Like you should be happy your team is winning. I I always have a hard time at receivers who are happy in a loss because they got their touches and mad in a win because they didn't.
Yeah, it makes absolutely no sense, and we even saw that. Yeah, last year I think when they beat Carolina, like he was upset, and I'm like, well, I see the car you drive to the games. Okay, I get that, right? But it's like something doesn't jive here. Now there's only one football. There's only so much to go around, right? You have Smith, you have Saquon, you have AJ Brown, you got other guys. Just saying, it's
Well, and
Dallas Goddard.
I could even get it if you were mad that you didn't get your touches in a loss, right? Because then you're like, hey, I feel like I could have helped us win this game and I just wasn't involved enough.
Right.
But when you win, especially when like some of these they won big and you're like, you're mad and you're just like, you beat the brakes off the other team. Yeah, you weren't heavily involved, but you clearly didn't need to be.
Right. It wasn't necessarily maybe the game plan to go to you, right? Like
Yeah.
if they're more susceptible to the run, well, obviously, Saquon's gonna get his touches. We saw that a bit against the Rams last year.
Mhm.
Well, we saw that a lot from Saquon, but
Yeah, true.
particularly in that one playoff game versus the Rams, right? So, yeah, and then when he does stuff like that, it reckons back to, Terrell Owens when he played for the Eagles. I mean, he wasn't pumping weights in his driveway or anything like that, but it's just like, it kind of percolates a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. Good, good. Shoot, we could go on for another hour, but I always like to be respectful of people's time and that sort of thing. And I know, Bull, you are a busy guy, but this has been awesome to kind of dissect. And I try not to be all over the place. I know maybe I jumped around a bit, but always love talking NFL. And
Mhm.
yeah, you know what? I'd love to do this again sometime.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously I'm always running around and my schedule is crazy, but
Mhm.
yeah, always love jumping on people's shows and mixing it up because it's fun, right?
It
It's
is.
a sport I love, and so it's always great to get people's perspectives for sure.
For sure, absolutely. Right on. Well, enjoy the games this weekend, and we got CFL playoffs happening tomorrow as well. So maybe those are on CBS Sports Network down in the States. So
You,
I
you
would think.
gotta you gotta kind of search for them. They do
Okay.
make the CFL a little bit hard to watch. The playoffs is a little bit easier. I do like. There's a rule change for you guys that I like.
Okay, I want to hear this. I want to hear why you
Okay.
like this rule change.
So I like this rule change because I feel like you should never be rewarded for missing a kick So
Yeah.
after this season, they're doing away with the 1 point kick where you can miss, but if it makes it through the end of the end zone, you'd get 1 point.
Yeah.
So that rule does go away finally.
Yes.
So now, if you want points, you have to make it through the uprights.
Right. Yeah, rewarding for failure. It does make for some good TV and some stress in the stadium, but there I will agree. That doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean, I watch teams win missing a kick. I'm like, what are we doing right now?
Right. And that happened last year in the CFL.
Yeah.
And again, you just said you watched. It was at the game between Toronto and it was the Argos Riders game. That's the game it
Yeah,
happened.
I think that's right. I think
Right.
that's right.
Yeah. So yeah, you hope it never happens to your team, but then when it happens to something, you kind of laugh. You're like, okay, well, this is a Canadian thing. These are Canadian
Yeah.
rules and all of that. So yeah, it's but yeah, I appreciate that perspective. I mean, when the commissioner came out and he made these comments about the changes, it was like hold your breath. And there's been some people that are holding wakes for the 55-yard line not to be there anymore and that sort of thing.
Hmm.
I kid a bit, but that was a tweet by a former broadcaster, Bob Irving. He said that in a put that on Twitter. I kind of chuckled, but I found myself at games. I'm like, I have my neck turned for most of the quarter. I'm like, boy, if the field was a bit shorter, I wouldn't turn my neck as much. I mean, I don't know if you think about these things in your mid 40s, but it's just like, what is the 55-yard line? And then the shorter end zones, and then some people get upset because okay, it's too much NFL, and it's like, okay, well, okay, but like nothing stays the same, and we see this in the NFL with the kickoffs, rule changes, etc. We see it
Yep.
in baseball with the pitch clock reviews. I mean, I hated the pitch clock, but I mean, look, if the pitch clock didn't happen in the 18 inning game, you know what?
It'd still be on.
It would still be on.
They'd still be playing it.
It'd still be playing. So there has to be nothing stays the same, and if you're not changing, you're not moving,
Yep.
regardless of if it's sport or business or whatever else. You need
Exactly.
to. So this isn't the 1990s anymore. So I
That
got
is
to
for
ask
sure.
you: do you think the CFL would expand to the U.S. to the state of Washington, for example?
I mean, it's been a long time since the U.S. has had a team. I believe Baltimore was the last one that had one. Um, so here's a funny fact for you. They won the Grey Cup more recently than a Canadian team has. Won the Stanley Cup.
That's true.
How messed up is that?
That is wild. That was in 95.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's correct. That is
And I think that was the last year that team existed.
yes, because the Browns moved to Baltimore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's so fun fact for people watching. There's just some randomness there. But yeah, I always thought that was kind of crazy. But no, I don't see the CFL really coming down. Um, I think they could be successful. I just don't think they do. Um, at least I haven't heard anything of them really looking to expand.
Okay. That's fair.
Uh, I mean, it's viable for sure. Um, I mean, because like we had the XFL team, the Sea Dragons here, and they did well. Obviously that team went away when the UFL and XFL merged and created, or the USFL rather, created the UFL, and they made it regional to alienate fans, I guess. And then, but I mean, so we support more football, but yeah, for whatever reason, you know, didn't didn't keep a team here. But
Mhm.
we averaged like I want to say 25,000 per game. So I mean, if the CFL wanted to bring a team down. I think we have the fan base to support it.
Right.
You run into a challenge because of how long the CFL season is. And so there's some bleed into the NFL.
Right.
And because you'd be sharing stadiums, that's a problem.
Well, I heard that the Grey Cup in 2027 is going to start earlier. The game is scheduled for November 7th. And the reason I bring this up with expansion to the NFL to the states is because now end zones are only going to be 15 yards and not 20 yards. That gets
Yep.
everybody percolating. Okay, it'd be more conducive to stadiums down south. Um, so
Well, yeah, because with it being 15, you essentially are a soccer field now,
mhm,
right?
right.
So yeah, that would work in the stadium. The problem is you still have that overlap of, you know, from September to November where the Seahawks are there,
Yeah,
right?
right.
So because you don't really have another stadium option um, that would house the amount of people that you would think you'd want to have for the CFL. I don't know what your typical attendance is up there, um, but I have to imagine you want a stadium that can at least hold 30,000 40,000 people, right?
Yeah, well, Winnipeg sold out their season for the first time ever.
Okay.
So we're at 32,000. We're at just under 33,000.
Okay. Oh,
Uh,
so they're little smaller stadiums.
yes,
Okay.
but like some
Okay.
stadiums are like 16, they get 16,000, 20,000,
Oh, okay.
25, which is always concerning to me because the population of Canada is growing, but yet people aren't coming to the stadiums yet. 30 years ago, stadiums were more filled. But there's some theories into why I think that is. We can watch everything on our phones, honestly. It's because it was like, okay, well, the game's not on TV. Well, I have to be at the game. Well, that's not always the case anymore. But
That's
that
fair.
could be for episode 2. But I
Exactly.
honestly wanted to get your just from a US perspective, what your thoughts would be on that. So that's why I asked those questions.
Yeah, like I think it could be supported. I just don't know. And I think the length of the season does play a factor, right? Because you guys are 20 weeks, right?
20, yeah, we have like 3 buys.
Yeah. So I mean, like that would for it to really work, you'd probably have to trim it down
Hmm.
and probably get rid of some of those bye weeks so that you could be maybe having the championship in say October.
Right.
Because if you could do that, then there's little enough overlap that it could work, right? Because that's still early enough in the season that, you know, even though you're going to compete for against the NFL, it's still early in the season for the NFL. It's not like it's playoff versus playoff kind of thing. Do I think those teams would suffer if they weren't very good? Absolutely, right? Because they're going to the NFL for sure. But if you have a championship caliber team that's in the playoffs and your normal team is just getting going, although I imagine some of those would be played on Saturday anyway, so you wouldn't be direct competition. But then they'd be going up against college football. But I think if they were to shorten the season, not necessarily how many games, but if they were to just shorten it by getting rid of some of the buys, maybe started a couple weeks earlier, so that you don't have as much overlap with the NFL. Because I mean, let's be honest, the NFL is the ultimate juggernaut of a sport, and so they dominate ratings. So if you can limit how much you're going directly head to head, that would be huge.
Right. And that's why the big rivalry between the Riders and Saskatchewan that used to always be on the Sunday after Labor Day. Well, that was week 1 of the NFL. And now that game's always on Saturday for the last 10 years. And because they don't want to hit that, CFL's moved away from playoff games on Sunday to Saturdays because of the NFL. But yet they had to move the games up this past weekend to not conflict with the game 7 of the Jays World Series, which is kind of a one-off, but
For sure.
you kind of have this, right? And so they've really tried to respect the giant of the NFL because they do know that, it does have people's attention. And so I agree with a lot of those points. Yeah, if they can shorten it, um, yeah, we are at 18, but NFL 17 probably will be 18 soon. Play
Yep.
Super Bowl on President's Day weekend or whatever. But
Like they should do that anyway. I mean, so when I owned my normal businesses, I had an auto repair shop and then I also had an HVAC company. The Monday after Super Bowl
mhm,
was a day off for like I made it a company day off
right,
because I know that even if my employees show up, they're going to be in no condition to work, right?
right.
They're either going to be half hungover or they're going to be talking about the game the whole day anyway. So you know what? It's cool. It's a company holiday. Don't come in. You're not going to be useful anyway. Plus, I know I'm going to watch the game and I don't want to come in either.
Yeah, well, exactly, right. And the game starts at the West Coast at 3:30. I mean, it's you guys get the early start too. So, but
Yep.
still, if you, I like that. Give them the day off. I agree. I always think the day off, the day after the Super Bowl should be a stat. But
Yeah. So, like, if it moves one more week and it's on President's Day, then, a bunch of people get it off anyway, right? Because
right.
it's a banker's holiday.
Mhm.
So, um, any labor trades, you're still working, but
It's true. I think the Super Bowl in 2027 is on Valentine's Day. Just a random fact, but yeah, I
that
could
would
be.
be interesting.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah, it would be.
That sounds like that's going to start a lot of fights in people's houses.
It could. My wife's birthday is on February 7th, so I've had to deal with the Super Bowl on her birthday at least 3 times. But we've worked it out. It's all good. I shouldn't say deal. That sounds terrible, but I've
It
had to deal
does.
with it. Oh no, it's been good. I make it a whole weekend celebration, so it's fine. It's awesome. Right on. Good, good. Well, shoot,
That's
I was
awesome.
going to wrap this up about 20 minutes ago, but it's yeah, I enjoyed the dialogue. This is awesome. So
Absolutely.
good, right on. But yeah, well, I again, all the best with your endeavors into your broadcasting and all of that fun stuff, and we'll definitely do this again sometime. This is
Absolutely. And again, thanks again for having me on, man. This was a ton
yeah,
of fun.
yeah, no doubt. And I'll record this and put it on my page, and feel free to share it on your social medias as well.
Awesome.
Okay, take care.
Take it easy.
Yeah.